rounds. I mean, self-published, and then eventually was picked up by Queller Books. As you're sitting here now, I mean, it's a year later. Where is your peace now? Where's your inner peace now?
Totally within me. And that's what I had to get to, in understanding that the only person that can bring about their own peace is oneself. You know, ultimately, it comes back to you. And that was a journey in itself. Yeah, but I think
Is it always there, or do you get the sense that it's lost?
No, I think it is always there, but I think we can get lost. And, you know, we get sort of distracted by external things or influences in our lives. And then we kind of think that we're losing our way. I have to say that the thing that brought me back to it, to that complete understanding, and I thought that really makes sense, was my practice of Buddhism. And that awakened me to the fact that actually there is no other solution but you. You know, so yes, but also learning to embrace those things, learning to embrace those journeys, no matter where you failed or how painful they were. Those are part of the things that make me up as a human being, and learning to own them and then use them to empower myself and others is now imperative. I understand that.
Paint that picture for me very quickly, because you know, as somebody that's in front of the camera and as somebody who has a personal life, there's a duality.
Sure.
And whether you want to admit it or not, I often hear people say, well, I'm the same person in front of the camera, but you do live a different life. How do you reconcile that in your mind when you're going through the hardest part of your life? You're living in your car, you're famous in South Africa, you are supposed to be, there's this perception that you have lots of money, but you're living in this car and you've got to deal with that. At what point did you go, like, well, but I'm famous, I shouldn't be going through this?
I think that was something that was constantly a conversation in my head, because before I even got to the car, there were all sorts of things that were happening in my life that were out of kilter. You know, I was out of rhythm with myself. And so trying to deal with this idea of having this persona on television, as you say, people having all these impressions about who I was. But the reality of my life is that it was not healthy. You know, I wasn't functioning in the way I should function as a supposedly successful actor. But I think what we just touched on this earlier, one of the things that is confusing, I reckon, because it's very prevalent in our society at the moment, is this idea of the celebrity culture, as opposed to being an artist. Because if I'm on that path and I'm clear that what I'm doing is connected to my artistry, then I think the confusion is less. But it's when that gets mixed up and then you're thinking, I'm supposed to be this certain person. So you kind of start wearing these layers and these masks, and that is what you're giving out. Exactly. And ultimately, that's destructive to yourself, because you begin to lose a sense of who you are.
Did you ever think at any point that you were a loser? Did the word loser bounce through your head?
Oh, constantly. I mean, even in the book, I describe myself as a loser, just feeling like a waste of space. And I know there's a lot of people who feel that way. Which is, in a sense, why I also wrote the book. Because I thought, you know, guess what? You saw me on this platform, and I felt like a loser. So, you know, fame, money, all these accolades doesn't bring about happiness. If you're not feeling okay with yourself, then you're not, no matter what, you know. And that's why it was important to go back to me. Yeah.
That turnaround, because you were living in your car, you then had to go back to the UK to reconnect with family, you went straight from your sister, all of that kind of stuff. Talk to me about, do you now think that there's a higher being? Because you literally got a job when you were down and out, contemplating, I'm going back to the UK. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was me in a state. I mean, because in a sense, I'd broken down. I had a nervous breakdown. That's a fact, right? So I was at my lowest. And I thought, well, the only thing I've got left to do now is to go back to the UK. Why? Because I know it. And it's kind of safe, you know. You can be anonymous. I can sort of try and put the pieces back for my life in an arena that is conducive to that. So, yes, at my worst, and I was just thinking, well, I am about to run out of money again, because I'd sold my car to be in this place that I was living in before I left for London. And I thought, I need something. So I was thinking, well, you know, something's going to come about. And in my mind, I believed at that point that there was divine intervention, although I've come to another understanding. But I thought to myself, so I was going, you know, come on, and thought I heard a voice in my head saying, well, you're going to get a call and just say yes. And guess what? I did get a call.
And you said yes.
I said yes.
What are
And
you
he gave me
working
my
on now?
ticket.
I want to touch
Yeah.
on quickly on you're doing some amazing stuff now that you're back in South Africa.
Yeah.
And you've got a purpose now.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that, because I think that's what it's about. Once you have a purpose, you're able to get up in the morning forever. And I'm setting up an incubation center that's supporting and developing artists. And I mean empowering them not only as people and as artists, but also giving them some support and understanding the business end of this business of the arts. So I'm in the process of constructing this. And luckily I've come across quite a few people. Hopefully at this point it is that thing of now getting the capital to put it together. And I'm doing it because I really want artists in this country to own their platform, you know, because they need to.
If there's any corporates that want to get involved, they need to get involved. How can they get hold of you?
It is imperative that they get hold of me. My email address is pamelanomvete@yahoo.com.
Okay, or they can just Google you.
Or they can Google me, yeah.
And
They'll
the
find me
details.
everywhere.
Just your
acting
thought
world.
as an actor, there's been
Yeah.
so much stuff going on with Generations.
Yeah.
16 have been fired. We've got a brand new looking soapy. What do you think? I mean, as part of the original cast.
Well, I think it's it's that thing, isn't it? Exactly. Artists have to take responsibility for their artistry. And it's too bad that stuff like that happens. 16 artists being fired, it's kind of crazy. I was confused by that. I think it's kind of absurd. And Generations, you know, like you were talking to me earlier, I was in Coronation Street in the UK. That is a national treasure. It's like,
That show's been running
and
forever.
it will run forever. So why can't that be here? I think Generations perhaps would have been that. And it is about nurturing.
Do you watch the new Generations?
I haven't really. So I'm sorry, it's brilliant.
Okay, we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining me this morning. That's actor and author Pamela Nomvete talking to us about her memoir, Dancing to the Beat of the Drum in Search of My Spiritual Home. It's available in all good bookstores. We're encouraging everybody to get a copy. It's a great, great gift. Go and get it. Go and read about it. It's a dinner discussion. We take an ad break. Back on this.